So by and large, like, this is just something that is a tough conversation to have. The vast majority of the athletes in your gym don't need any sort of competitive programming. They might think they do, but they just don't. If you are an athlete that's going to regionals, like, everybody knows. When you pick up a barbell, everybody knows. If you're a weekend warrior, you don't need competitive programming. You just don't. You need to do more CrossFit. You need to do more constantly varied functional movement at high intensity. All right, guys, welcome back to Jerk Walk Talk. I'm Jason Fernandez, and we're here at CrossFit Rife. And today, this is a topic that comes up. It kind of comes and goes in waves, right? Which is like, you have people that want to be competitive in your gym. So there's been several podcasts about it lately. There's been now it's competition season, so it's a little bit more on people's minds. So I'll give you my 2 cents on it, and if you don't agree with it, that's totally fine. Again, this is just my 2 cents from having kind of been in the community before the games was the games, and then watched the evolution of the games, and having been a gym owner for almost 7 years, and having been a competitive athlete before CrossFit, during CrossFit, and then also kind of trying to we've gone through several iterations of like trying to have a competitive environment within the gym. So by and large, like, this is just something that is a tough conversation to have. The vast majority of the athletes in your gym don't need any sort of competitive programming. They might think they do, but they just don't. If you are an athlete that's going to regionals, like, everybody knows. When you pick up a barbell, everybody knows. If you're a weekend warrior, you don't need competitive programming. You just don't. You need to do more CrossFit. You need to do more constantly varied functional movement at high intensity. Now, this is not me preaching down to those people. Like, we could do that. We could save that for another time. I want to address kind of like how to address that within a gym setting, and why you would need to address that within a gym setting. And the big thing is this: is if you start prioritizing competitive athletes over your members, that by and large is a losing strategy for a whole host of reasons. Number one, let's just do the math on it. You are not going to pay your bills as a gym owner with competitive athletes. You're talking about like less than 1% of the people in your gym to be considered competitive at any reasonable level. They're not paying your bills. And the reality is, they're probably not that competitive anyway. So just take a hard look at like what you're doing. If you're singling out competitive athletes within your gym, it's just not a good idea. If you don't think that other members in your gym notice it when you give special attention to those special athletes, you're wrong. You're foolish, you're naive, it will backfire, it will bite you in the ass. I've seen it 100 times, I've personally done it. So just don't do it. If you're talking about one of these people who talks about like you have great community, you have great culture, and then you give special athletes priority over the rest of everybody, you're full of shit. That's just the way it is. Like, that's not good culture. That's not good leadership. But you have the opportunity to fix it. So it's one of those things where, like, if you're doing it now, you can circle back on that and make the correction. Now, I would tell you it's tough to have a conversation with athletes who maybe they come in from your gym and they're competitive at another gym. I get it. The way I handle it is this. I'm pretty firm on this, and it goes like this. If that person can walk into the gym and so we write programming in 3 levels: RX Plus, RX, and then fitness. For those of you who know, I've seen a couple videos, we do warm up and workout from Pat and Taz, and it's written in 3 levels. I'm a big fan of it at this point. I know guys like Ben Bergeron have just made the shift to something very similar to that. It's just easy to shuffle people into something that's appropriate. If somebody comes in and they want to be competitive, they want to do their own stuff, they want special programming, they want special treatment, they have to earn it in my gym. That means you have to be top of the leaderboard every day for like 2 to 3 weeks. No losses, 0. Like no cherry picking, no nothing. Like you better be good at gymnastics, you better be really good at weightlifting, and it better not be like just heavy barbell metcons or just body weight metcons, the whole kit and caboodle. If you're gonna come in 5th or 6th or 7th or something like that, in any one of those days, you don't need competitive programming. You need to spend more time on your weaknesses. Those things that you suck at, that you avoid, that you program around are weaknesses. And ultimately, what you can do is you can express to the athletes like that this is an opportunity for improvement, meaning like we've identified a weakness. Failure to attack the weakness is just ignorance on your part, at which point they will never be truly competitive, right? So if they suck at running 5Ks, but they want to hammer a barbell all day, guess what? You guys have seen the competitors or the regional programming, like they're in a barbell in sight yet. I don't like 5 or 6 workout. Yeah, like there's not one yet. So you can kind of express that to them that like you don't need to just hammer the things you're good at. We talk about this all the time in the level 1. Like just do CrossFit. Just come in, hit the workout as hard as possible. Have them hit the workout as hard as they can until their eyes bleed. And if they win all the time, then you as a coach get an opportunity to come in and say, okay, let me do some programming around your weaknesses, but it's not gonna be this ridiculously high volume, 85 workouts a day. Let's get you good at what you're bad at, then we can ramp up the volume. But by and large, there is just a fundamental lack of understanding of like you as a coach who is the leader of a community, and then maybe even more so from a business standpoint, about you trying to hang your hat on the competitive athletes in your gym. It is just a bad plan. Only always. It's just a bad plan. It's not going to work out for you. The vibe in your gym is going to be shitty. If you're going to talk making money, like you're not going to make any money. Like there's no money there for you to send one team to regionals. Like nobody cares. So just take a look at that. Now, if you do decide to go down the road of doing competitors programming, there need to be some pretty finite rules set in place. So we allow athletes to do some extra programming, but the rule is this: it can never, in any circumstances, impede the normal CrossFit class. So the coach who owns the floor, or coach who's coaching the class, like so let's say one of the coaches coaching the 5 p.m., they own the gym. Like they can tell me to get out. Like they own everything. They own all the floor space. They can tell anybody to stop doing whatever they want if it's affecting their ability to run an effective class and it's affecting the environment. That is the rule. It will probably always be the rule. Because I just think that person doesn't need to be hamstringed by special people, right? And that's the way we get around that. But if you do that, if you have the ability to kind of push those special folks off to the side, that's fine. But I would tell you, like, I'm a real big fan of the way warm-up and workout does theirs, because like the baseline GPP programming for your competitive athletes is the workout of the day. They do it with the class, and then everything else after that is accessory work. So I still have my competitive athletes in the community throwing down with everybody else, getting after it, working hard, being part of the community, and not segregating themselves because they're special. If you're a coach who, and I think I've talked about this before, if you're a coach who's doing your own special programming, that is just poor leadership. Ben Bergeron's talked about this. I've seen it numerous times. Like, an old saying is like, hey, never trust a cook who doesn't eat his own food. It's the same in the gym. If you're not doing your own programming, you're full of shit. Like, you're not that special. Like, you're just doing a bunch of stuff that you like to do, which is not a good example. So, again, it's kind of the competitive season. Wanted to bring that up, but more than like preach to you guys, I wanted to kind of give like, there's some workarounds there if that is something that you want to pursue, right? So like, tailor your programming, write programming that is hard for a competitive athlete, and then scale down, and then have accessory work built around that so that my competitive athletes are still getting in the class. Try not to let the small population of people, your competitors, overrun the gym. Again, you're talking about probably 1% of the athletes that walk in your door. Having that 1% rule the space and take all the barbells and all the squat racks and all that stuff is not a good vibe to have within the gym. And here, even from a better standpoint, like, especially if they're not paying extra, right? So if an athlete comes in there doing all this extra competitive stuff and they're taking up more space than everybody else, and they're not paying, in worst case, they're paying less, that's even worse, right? So in order to be fair, to be consistent across your gym and your membership and stuff like that, you need to be fair, and athletes need to know where they stand, and the reality is they're just not special. So if you're treating them like they're special, it's just a lack of, lack of vision, lack of understanding of what's going on in your gym. Again, I can tell you, we've tried multiple iterations of it, and it almost always falls flat. So it's just, if it happens organically, great, like good for you. Like that's kind of like my life goal, is for that to happen organically. I think that's like best case scenario, and I'd be fully lying to anybody who watches this stuff to say that that's not something that's kind of on my radar, is like getting a team to regionals, but it will not be done at the expense of the regular membership. It will be something where like those people have to rearrange their schedule to do competitor programming, not the gym will accommodate those 5, 6, 10 people for them to be special. That just won't happen. It's counter to good culture, it's poor leadership, and it's just bad business. So if you guys have any questions, please drop them in the show notes. And other than that, guys, thanks for watching, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks. See ya.